Welcome to our week. This week we're going to take a look at the phonology of vernacular English, and I'd like to just kind of work through part of a site that talks about the phonological features of African American English. You can see it up here on the top. And this is a great site. It's got so much information. I'd like to just go over and introduce maybe the first 2 or 3 topics with you, just to give you an idea of how to work with this site, because you'll be doing it alone. The main thing is phonology is a very detailed, very specific kind of a discussion in linguistics. And so you can't just read it over and hope to understand what's going on, but it's really important to go through each particular point, try to pronounce these things. That's why we've spent some time learning the phonetic alphabet, the IPA, to do this. But let me go through the first several features with you, just so you can have an idea of how I think you should also go through the rest of them, and then you'll have some more things to go through this week too. So let's take a look, and this first topic on this page is features involving unstressed syllables. So let's take a look at how I think the best way to go through each of these features is, so that we can also feel that we understand them, because that's important. So first of all, this section involves features involving unstressed syllables. Now, for example, the initial, that's the first, and medial, that's a syllable that's in the middle of a word, unstressed syllable deletion. And you can see that each topic has been kind of made an initialism, where they took the first letter of each word, initial, medial, unstressed, syllable deletion. So the description of this feature is deletion of unstressed syllables, initial and medial word position only. So we're not talking about the ends of words, we're talking about the initial and medial unstressed positions. Now, here's the constraints where you find this. The unstressed syllable can be a vowel only, and it can also be an unstressed syllable. For example, a consonant vowel. Now, we can find these unstressed syllables in closed grammatical classes. Closed grammatical classes means classes of words that don't normally get added to. For example, pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions. We don't really add more prepositions to English. We have a set of prepositions, and those are more than enough for us. And now here's an example. So is an initial unstressed syllable, you have the word about. It's 2 syllables. However, when the initial syllable the vowel, is deleted, it sounds like bout. Standard English, about. Vernacular, bout. Now also you can have, for example, in a noun like government, a noun is an open class, an open grammatical class, because we know that as we need more nouns to the language, for example, nouns that come out of technology, which is a new field, a growing field, for example, we need new words. Like Google, for example, is a new word added to the grammatical class of noun and verb. But anyway, government, for example, is a 3-syllable word, government. But in the vernacular, that medial or mid unstressed syllable is deleted, and we have the pronunciation government. government. Now, where do we find this? This occurs in most varieties of English. It's most frequent in African American vernacular English, and possibly it's more common in older speakers than it is in younger speakers. It's found in rural areas and it's found in urban areas as well. And here's some references. Let's take a look at another feature involving unstressed syllables. Now, English has something called haplology. And that really means it's the deletion of a reduplicated syllable, or it really means the omission of some of the sounds that are occurring in a sequence of similar sounds or articulations. For example, there's no internal constraints on this. So the word Mississippi becomes Mississippi, Mississippi. Probably becomes probably. So we can see we've deleted one s and one b in our deletion of the reduplicated syllables. Now, this occurs in most varieties of English. I personally do this a lot, I know, and it's more frequent in African American vernacular English. And then here we have some references. Let's take a look at one more. Now, here we have the prevocalic voicing of P in initial unstressed syllables. So that means, how do you pronounce the P when it comes before a vowel sound, prevocalic? So the voicing of initial singleton P, in singleton means that it's a P that's by itself with no other consonants. So it's not like PR or SP, it's just a single P. In initial unstressed syllables, let's take a look. So when P is by itself in front of a vowel in an unstressed initial syllable, the first syllable of a word, it may actually get voiced. So for example, P, pajamas, the P sound is unvoiced, but it becomes B, voiced, and we say pajamas, pajamas. The same thing happens in the word potato. It's unvoiced in standard pronunciation, but in an African American vernacular or in Southern white vernacular English, it's voiced. Potato, potato, potato. And it's good to practice these. You can see that it's difficult to just read phonetic alphabet. You have to really practice it a few times because our tendency is to pronounce it the way we always do. So we have to hook up the International Phonetic Alphabet to remind us this is how it should be said. So now, where do you find this kind of a pronunciation? It occurs in Southern white vernacular English, as well as African American vernacular English. So it was this information comes from a Memphis data. Now, this was the first category of the phonological features of African American vernacular English. That was features involving unstressed syllables. But this site goes on to talk about features involving clusters. And clusters are when you have two or more consonants together. For example, you have a deletion of the second consonant in final consonant clusters. But both consonants must share the voicing. So deletion of the second consonant in final consonant clusters, both consonants must share the voicing. So for example, cold becomes coal. we can see we dropped the second consonant in this cluster. And this happens in single morphemes, double morphemes, unstressed, and stressed syllables. And you can see, I don't need to read everything to you, but basically, if you take your time and work your way through the description, the constraints, and the example, by the time you finish this chart, you'll have an excellent idea of what African American vernacular English sounds like. Now, also, this I just want to mention, and then I won't go any more into detail with this, but metathesis means that there's a switching, there's a flip-flopping of sounds. So, for example, in the word ask, it changes to ax. Grasp becomes graps. Now, these are features involving clusters. There's also features involving final consonants. For example, final consonants are sometimes dropped. So you have man becomes ma, good becomes gu, five becomes fi. You have features involving interdentals like bath, mother. There's features involving fricatives. There's lateral liquid features that refers to the L. There's features involving vocalic and post-vocalic R. That's when vocalic R means when the R sound actually makes a syllable. So, for example, butter. There's features involving diphthongs that don't involve R, non-rhotic. There's features involving vowels, non-rhotic, because R is actually a consonant that has a lot of influence on the vowels it's with, so they separate talking about vowels by themselves or vowels that are involved with R. Then there's features that existed in earlier forms of African American English. There's prosodic features. For example, how stress is used in the language. This is a good one. For example, Standard English says police, but African American and Southern White Vernacular English puts the stress on the first syllable and it becomes police. Detroit, Standard English, Detroit Vernacular. And then there's some references. So this is what we're going to be doing together, what you'll be doing, and this is preparation for our quiz. So please take your time looking through it, go step by step, read through each description, and if you do have any questions, of course, you can post them on our forum, and we can talk about them together. I just want to remind you once more that phonology is very detailed, so take your time and really try to say each of these words, try to read the phonetic alphabet. That's our guide to how the pronunciation really occurs in the vernaculars. And that's the best way to learn it. So now let's take a look at our week for just a moment. So let's go to our home page and let's scroll down a little bit to week 15. Those weeks were still coming. So here's week 15. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you that our forum this week will be to describe a feature of either Chicano English or Hawaiian English on our forum posting. And we're going to be using the phonetic alphabet to describe those features and share those features with each other, just like the African American site I just showed you uses the phonetic alphabet to show the vernacular phonology. So let's take a look at how we can type these phonetic symbols. Click on Type IPA, and you can see this is such a great site that I wanted to share with you. So let's say for the forum, you want to show how the word bag is pronounced. So you can use your keyboard to type in the word bag, and then you can use your keyboard and the phonetic symbols here to show the phonology of the word. Now, the letter B is also part of the phonetic alphabet, so I can use my keyboard for the B sound. But I need to go to the phonetic alphabet, click on and it appears where my cursor is on the screen. And I use G from my keyboard because G is also used in the phonetic alphabet. And here I have the phonology or the phonetic transcription of bag. Now let's say I want to show the word wish. So I type it using my keyboard. And then I use the W from my keyboard because there is no separate phonetic symbol for W. But now I need to go to the is sound, so I need the phonetic alphabet, and I need to show the sh sound. Once again, I need the phonetic alphabet, and here I have the pronunciation of wish, phonetically transcribed. Now I'm ready to either copy, and I can copy by holding down the Control key and the C key together, and I can paste it using the Control key and the V key together, and I can paste it directly into my forum posting, or I can paste it into a document first because this forum may take you some time. So it might be better to paste everything and to prepare a document, a Word doc, for example, and then copy and paste all of that at one time into your forum. Again, using the same controls, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Okay, so that takes care of typing in the phonetic alphabet. And now let's go back for one more minute. On the forum, I'm going to ask you to take a look to choose either Chicano English or Hawaiian English and to share a feature of that phonology with us. But what I'd like you to do in both cases is to first visit those sites. And those sites were prepared by the Los Angeles Unified School District to give information to its teachers about working with students who speak those vernaculars. And you can see that there's a lot of information about phonology, morphology, regularization, etc., but basically we're dealing only with phonology. So I'd like you to read page 9 of this little pamphlet or this booklet, and then choose from one of the features to share with us. And let's see what that looks like. So for example, please read the introduction first, and then take a look at one of the features or take a look at all of them and choose one that you'd like to share with us. And I just want to show you here that what they do on this site is they don't really use the phonetic alphabet because most people don't know it, most teachers don't really know it, and so they try to put everything into regular English spellings. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask you, when you describe these features to us, I'd like you to use the IPA to show us what the real phonology is. So this is the Mexican American or Chicano English. And then also, before you decide on your forum topic, please take a look at the Hawaiian English also and read the introduction to the phonology section, which is on page 9, just by chance. Happens to be the same page. Of course, you can read the introduction to this booklet, because it's good information, but read the introduction at the least to the phonology section. And Hawaiian American English is called Pidgin. And here you can find some of the examples. And again, you can see how act, they tried to show you this is the pronunciation, but we already know that we have a phonetic alphabet to show it more clearly. So please take some time, look through these, choose something that you like, and we'll learn about it together on our forum. So this is what I'd like to show you on, this is what I wanted to show you on the video. I wanted to show you the African American English Vernacular website. I wanted to give you an idea of the best way to work through it, which is slowly, carefully, in making sure that we really understand each point that's being made on that chart. And then take a look through the other Hawaiian English and the Chicano English sites before choosing your forum posting, and use the IPA site to type and to share your forum posting and examples with us. And if you have any questions or comments, please post them on our forum. I'm really looking forward to our week. This should be very interesting, and I think it's going to be great practice for us.